Hey, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Have you ever caught yourself wondering, there are all these religions in EU4 that I can convert to through various means, but which ones are actually the best, and why are they that way? Well, young viewer, I'm here to give you exactly what you're looking for. Every single religion in the game has its strengths and weaknesses, and of course, a large majority of them are really unique in their own ways. However, some of them borrow aspects from others, including certain events, decisions, and the ability to convert much better than others. In this guide today, we'll be covering over every single religion, their strengths and weaknesses, and where they rank on the tier list. The tier list is provided by the crafter ESB, and I'll provide a link to his post down in the description. To give the very short and unsatisfying answer, Orthodox is the best religion in the game. If that's all you were looking for, then you're welcome to leave right now. For those who are interested in how every religion plays out, stick around till the end where we'll be covering why Orthodox is the best religion. Before we get into today's video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you're looking to see more EU4 guide videos just like this one. Keep in mind, this guide will be looking at religions in their best state with all the DLCs enabled to compare them at their best. Alright then, let's begin with the bottom of the list, the F tier. Why are these religions so absolutely garbage? Well, let's start off by looking at the first faith, Judaism. Well, okay, this feels like there's about to be a joke that could be made here, but for the sake of keeping my channel, I won't be the one making it. In EU4, Judaism is relatively bad for a few reasons. First of all, there are very few provinces in the game where the faith actually exists from 1444, making it extremely hard to actually convert to it. Next, you'll notice that everyone around you seems to highly dislike the fact that you are a heathen to the entire world, considering there is no faith considered to be heretics to the Jews. All Jewish countries receive +2 to tolerance of the true faith, which in of itself doesn't seem that bad until you start to realize that the bonus isn't very important when you can hardly convert provinces over to your own faith anyway, having to quickly rely on religious ideas just to even get started, since the Sunni provinces around you are harder to convert by default. Having your own provinces harder to convert makes no impact, and the extra advisor is really no help, so that's why Judaism is F tier. Next, we have Zoroastrian. Zoroastrian finds itself in the exact same position as Judaism, instead having only Yaz to convert from, and mostly relying on events to make it work. Instead of possible advisors, Zoroastrian gets to have plus 10% trade efficiency, a very slight bonus in comparison. Animist is a religion I consider slightly better than the first two, having many nations to choose from and benefiting from -1 national unrest. Animist provinces are significantly easier to convert from, but that doesn't really impact your game. The biggest problem is the lack of depth in the game mechanics. This is why Animist is F tier. The final F tier religion is the North American Totemist religion held only by the First Nation tribes. This religion is terrible in a plethora of ways. Totemist and Animist are the exact same religion bonuses, but Totemist is a special lad, as the religion is held by natives that have to reform their religion in order to actually progress through the game. When that happens though, you're just so much better off switching to a Christian denomination, all of which are higher on the list. Speaking of getting higher on the tier list, let's take a look at the E tier. Theravada, Vajrayana, and Mahayana are all very similar religions, having been split off from the Buddhist religion that existed several patches ago. Theravada benefits from -10% advisor cost and +2 tolerance of heretics. Vajrayana benefits from +5% morale of armies, a nice bonus, and +1 tolerance of heretics, and Mahayana gets +2 tolerance of heretics and -5% idea cost. All of these denominations would be F tier for their tolerance of heretics rather than of the true faith if they didn't have an extra mechanic tied in with them. The karma bar is the unique to religions of Buddhist faiths. As a base, all of these religions gain a bonus from the mechanic. At bad karma, the player receives +2.5% discipline. At good karma, the player receives +1 diplomatic reputation. Although these are pretty nice bonuses, the best is when the player has neutral karma, granting +5% discipline and +2 diplomatic reputation. Karma is gained and lost through returning cores, releasing vassals, and good deeds and peace deals, or by taking provinces for yourself. Having to balance your karma on the tip of a pen makes any large conquest extremely hard, especially late game where the most provinces are taken in peace deals. This is why these religions are E tier. Moving on, we have the D tier religions. This is where we start to see some more variations in the religion types. First, we have Ibadi. Ibadi starts off in a dire situation about to be snuffed out for good, as their only majority provinces are in Oman, Nzab, and Pat. Ibadi has access to the piety and scholar mechanics just like the other Muslim nations, so why are they considered D tier several below the others? Besides their obvious minority in the game, Ibadi only has base benefits of +10% goods produced, while the others have better alternatives. Personally, although I can see Ibadi having a difficult starting position, their actual benefits aren't much worse than the other Muslim faiths. In my opinion, they deserve C tier at minimum, but that's just my own 2 cents. Next, we have Anglican, another quite controversial pick for the D tier. Anglican has some pretty good basic traits, gaining minus 10% development cost and plus 50% innovativeness gain. With these combinations, Anglican is considered one of the best religions for a tall colonial game, being able to develop and embrace institutions quickly, as well as getting a large boost in innovativeness. Not only that, but Anglican gets the same church power mechanic as Protestant, however using it differently. The Anglican Church gains quite few limited 5 actions, most of which aren't the most useful things in the world and require long amounts of time to see the fruits to profit from. 2 of which include divorcing and marrying new consorts, a mechanic which isn't very useful at all. Instead, you can gain a direct amount of money, increase mercantilism, or gain stability, 2 of which can also be granted through the Catholic Church. Although Anglican does have some good benefits, compared to the other Christian faiths, it simply does not quite compare. Next is the Japanese faith of Shinto. Shinto is a relatively simple faith that has its basis in conquest, granting the practicer plus 10% army morale as a base. Next, the player can choose a stage of isolationism through various events. Each stage has its own special bonuses granted to the player based on what they desire. However, these are subject to change through various events that affect Japan. The player must choose carefully based on their current goals and situation, but all bonuses that can be gained are also not as flexible or as beneficial to the player as other religions, hence why the religion is D tier. Confucian is the ancient Chinese faith based on harmony and balance between forces of good and evil. Confucian countries have a very interesting playstyle, influencing the player not to convert provinces and instead to harmonize with them. With plus 2 tolerance of heretics and minus 10% administrative technology cost, the biggest downfall of Confucian nations is the harmony mechanic. Harmony is increased over time and is decreased by 1 point per development of the converted province if the player decides to convert one. The worst part is that Confucian at 100% harmony only grants plus 1 tolerance of the true faith, something quite insignificant when trying not to convert provinces in the first place. The other side is when the player has 0% harmony, penalizing them with a wide array of powerful debuffs. However, should you stay down the path of righteousness, Confucian is redeemed by the large number of bonuses gained from harmonizing with all the religions in the game. Let's move up a tier where things start to get interesting and look at the C tier. Starting with Tengri, we see a lot less common faiths in the game, ones that are mostly overlooked, but are surprisingly powerful in their own right. Tengri is a great religion for playing hordes, as they have a base gain of 25% cavalry to infantry ratio, not to mention a minus 20% regiment cost, allowing the player to raise large armies quickly before a war. As a syncretic faith, Tengri also has the unique ability to choose a secondary religion, replacing your base bonuses with others depending on the ones you chose. Choosing a secondary faith also makes the selected faith count as true faith provinces, and bordering nations with the chosen secondary faith also view you as their faith, giving an opinion bonus just the same as any Tengri nation. The ability to strategically choose what bonuses you need at any time lands Tengri in the tier C category, although not where I myself would put them. Next, we have Fetishist. As a base, Fetishist nations gain plus 2 tolerance of heathens and minus 1 national unrest, making humanists a very good path to follow. Fetishist nations start off in West and Central Africa in relative isolation from other faiths. However, as you expand, you gain the ability to choose a cult for your leader each time you have a new one. The cults you can choose from depend on the nations you've battled, allied, and bordered around the world, each granting the nation unique bonuses, even from close-by religions simply by region like Madagascar and Southern Africa. Fetishist is considered such a strong religion simply because of the ability for republics to gain new leaders every few years, making it a viable choice to stay as Fetishist. Next, we have the Mesoamerican group of Nahuatl. Nahuatl has a powerful set of base bonuses, granting minus 2 national unrest and plus 10% morale of armies, which creates a powerful state useful for conquering the Europeans and getting that sunset invasion treatment. Of course, we all know about how the Doomsday mechanic works, destroying your country should Doomsday ever come. However, as you pass your reforms, your Doom problems are solved, as well as giving you monthly war exhaustion recovery, diplomatic relations, plus 5% discipline, an extra colonist, and minus 20% stability cost modifier, meaning Nahuatl turns into a country with tons of bonuses as your unique mechanic becomes irrelevant. Next is Mayan, a religion whose starting bonuses are so garbage they're almost on par with Judaism's, situated in the same area as the Nahuatl nations. However, Mayans can start going crazy once they start passing reforms, turning Mayan countries into conquering machines. After passing all of their reforms and reforming their religion, Mayans will have minus 10% land maintenance modifier, minus 2 national unrest, plus 10% infantry combat ability, a free colonist, and minus 20% core cost reduction. Mayan countries are the most well-equipped when it comes to dealing with Europeans trying to settle near them, and from the beginning are well-equipped for any world conquest. Personally, I'd rank them higher just for the bonuses of the faith alone, but the dynamic bonuses of religions higher on the list outweigh the power of what the Mayan nations can accomplish. Next, we have the Inti faith practiced on the west coast of South America. Inti is similar to Mayan in the kinds of bonuses they receive from reforms. All Inti countries receive plus 1 tolerance of the true faith as well as minus 0.05 monthly autonomy change. The Inti faith promotes centralization of the nation before the Europeans come, enacting reforms through authority, which is gained primarily through decreasing the autonomy of provinces. The reason why Inti isn't much higher on the list is because of the odd way they pass reforms. As a reform is passed, all authority is lost and a civil war ignites in the country as rebels try to seize authority for themselves. If you should manage to survive, however, it's likely you can be highly successful in your campaign and defending against the European invasions. When it comes to general stats, Inti, Nahuatl, and Mayan are quite high on the ability to conquest and grow as empires, which is why they all fit into the C tier. Alright, we're more than halfway there, moving on to the B tier. B tier consists of some of the more familiar and common faiths in the game, but also some you'd probably never expect, so let's check it out. First, we have the Sunni we all know and love. The majority of the Near East countries are Sunni, granting them increased cavalry ratio combined with the usual cavalry bonuses that a large number of Sunni nations enjoy. Along with the piety mechanic, granting the player the usual bonuses depending on the chosen side of the slider. In my opinion, there's not really any specific difference between the Muslim faiths that make any of them better or worse than the others. Surely a more skilled player could provide an explanation, but either way, Sunni is one of the majority religions, allowing for lowered aggressive expansion penalties in comparison to the other Muslim faiths. Coptic is the next religion we'll be looking at. Coptic is a very unique religion with interesting mechanics. All Coptic nations enjoy a wide array of bonuses when their religion is at its height. As a base set, Coptic nations receive plus 1 tolerance of the true faith, and plus 10% fort defense. However, the real bonuses begin with the conquest of various holy sites located in relatively close proximity to where Coptic nations are. As a Coptic nation conquers a province with a holy site in it, with up to 5 holy sites in the game, the player can choose 1 of 5 bonuses each until all of them have been picked. With all these bonuses, Coptic players can enjoy plus 0.5 yearly legitimacy, plus 10% manpower recovery speed, plus 1.5% missionary strength, minus 10% core cost reduction, and plus 2.5% discipline, some handy bonuses for large amounts of conquering. Not only that, but Coptic players also have access to one of the most powerful mechanics in the game, personal unions. With that last part, Coptic nations, should they be able to fight their way out of the perilous position in 1444, are easily able to create alliances in Europe and can create powerful empires. Next, we have the good old Catholicism, one of the largest majority religions at the beginning of the game, having hold over almost all of Europe from the beginning of the game. However, as things change, they become extremely powerful with religious ideas, allowing them to wrestle Europe under their control with a Deus Vult Casus Belli. Not only having the strong ability to form personal unions, Catholics also start with a relatively high development, and also have access to the papacy. The papacy can provide tons of bonuses provided the player is friendly enough with the Pope. As one of the strengths of the system, it also becomes one of the player's downfalls should they upset the Pope and the Papal States themselves. Countries can become the Curia controller, which also gains access to powerful abilities such as excommunication, an ability so powerful it can turn all of Europe against a country. Next, we have 2 more slightly unknown religions, Norse and Sikhism. Norse is an old Scandinavian religion that has been forgotten by time by all of the nations in EU4. As of now, there is literally no possible way to have a vanilla game of EU4 without Fantasy New World or custom nations and have the Norse religion exist. Only through these custom scenarios can you bring back the old religion. However, if you do choose to do so, you'll be greeted with plus 10% on both land and naval force limit modifier. Not only that, but similar to Hindu, the player can choose their ruler's deity, allowing for some unique bonuses which are really quite good. Same as Fetishist and Hinduist, a player can decide to become a republic and use that to their advantage, being able to swap deities very quickly to adapt to their current plans. The final B-tier religion to look at is Sikhism. Sikhism is located around where Hinduism and Islam meet, but is nowhere to be seen at the beginning of the game. Sikhism spawns within the first few decades of the game, allowing the player to choose if they'd like to convert to it. Sikh nations benefit from strong basic bonuses such as plus 10% morale of armies and minus 10% military technology cost, a vital part of keeping up with your neighbors. On top of this, Sikh nations get events tied in with Sikhism, granting certain bonuses to the player depending on what guru is active at the time. Using the wiki, you can plan your perfect strategy around when these gurus die and when new ones come in, since it'll always happen around a set time. Let's continue on to the A-list religions, with only 5 left to cover. Let's start off with Shia, sharing similarities with Sunni and Ibadi that I've mentioned previously. The only difference is that Shia gets plus 5% morale of armies instead of the goods produced or cavalry ratio. Next, we have Reformed Christianity. Reformed is very unique in its abilities, separate from all the others we've seen so far. As a base, Reformed gets plus 1 possible advisors and plus 2 tolerance of heretics, making a humanist path most likely your preferred option. Reformed also spawns centers of reformation, meaning you're likely to find allies during the Reformation, as well as some free conversions while you're at it. When it comes to your unique mechanic, you have something called Fervor. Fervor is extremely powerful and advanced players can use it to the best potential if it's managed correctly. Fervor can be actively spent on various abilities that will be toggled at will. Choosing between stability, trade, and war, you can even have all 3 on at once if you so choose, and there are no negative effects from dropping to 0 fervor. Protestantism, just like Reformed, happens automatically during the Reformation, and helps you to get some free conversions if you should choose to convert. Protestant nations get plus 10% national tax modifier and plus 15% improved relations, which is useful for breaking up coalitions when you're trying to conquer heretic lands. Protestant is similar to Anglican in that both religions spend church power to get abilities. Different, however, is that Protestant abilities are just a whole lot more useful and there are a lot more of them. The way that Protestant works is that you choose abilities that are applied permanently until you decide to replace them with anything else. You get to choose up to 3 and they're super useful for a wide variety of playstyles, ranging from global settler increase to discipline to morale, idea cost, and several more options. Protestant is good for so many different varieties of players, and also provides a flexible way of adapting to what you need at any time, making it one of the best religions in the game. The second last religion we have to cover today is Hinduism. Hinduism is basically the exact same thing as the Norse religion, being able to choose a deity for your leader, giving various bonuses. So why is Hindu so much better? Well, scripted Hindu events allow the ruler to gain various monarch power generation based on the deity they choose. Of course, there's also the ability to become a republic and exploit elections to be able to adapt and switch deities quickly. Alternatively, with the Dharma DLC, players can consult the Brahmins to switch deities once every now and then. Hinduism's powerful deity abilities and Hindu interactions with their states make them one of the best religions, hence why they're on the A tier. Finally, what you've been waiting way too long for, it's time to talk about why Orthodox, the only religion in the S tier, is the best religion in the game. Orthodox is located in Western Europe and parts of the Balkans and Caucasus. For base traits, Orthodox has minus 10% stability cost and plus 1 tolerance of the true faith. On top of also being able to form personal unions, Orthodox also has access to the unique Patriarch authority mechanic. This allows the player to gain very powerful bonuses using a one-sided bar to gain bonuses based on the percentage of Patriarch authority. At most, these bonuses can include plus 2% missionary strength and give minus 2 local unrest and plus 33% national manpower modifier to every Orthodox province, encouraging the player to go down religious path. The player can also choose to spend 10 Patriarch authority to select a powerful icon, each one granting very high strength bonuses on the same level as a national idea. With this combination, Orthodox can decrease unrest in a province by up to minus 6, along with any tolerance of the true faith, making that up to minus 9 as a base value just from the effects gained from Orthodox at its peak power. Players can also consecrate metropolitan states, giving them Patriarch authority. And finally, one of the best things you can do is to destroy the Roman Curia by restoring the Pentarchy as Byzantium, crippling the majority of bonuses that the remaining Catholic nations enjoy. For these reasons, Orthodox is currently the absolute best religion in EU4. If you stayed this long, congratulations. This video took me around 10 or so hours to make in total, but I think it was well worth it. Thank you so much for watching, and I sincerely hope you learned something today. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you want to see more EU4 guides in the future, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and let me know what your favorite religion in EU4 is. This is Quarbit signing off, and as always, have a fantastic day.